All right. Make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be. Check on the stream to make sure it's live. Could be, but I like to make sure. It says we're live, but is it going to go live? Nope. 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 Maybe. There we go. Okay. So it is live. Pull this up for the comments. Perfect. All right. Well, welcome everyone who's watching this. Probably in the replay because right now there's nobody in the stream. I'm going to be painting up a Sierra that comes pre-battle damaged. And the point of this is that we're trying to explore, if we can kind of see a little bit, this will focus. There we go. You can see a little bit of damage there on the center plate, some here on the right side of it. And there's battle damage throughout the war mech. And the point of that is that we've had people requesting, hey, can I have some, the models already pre-battle damage because it could be used for mercenaries or pirates or even just veterans. You want your models to look like they've kind of already been through the ringer and they've already got some field experience. So what I'm doing, this is a prototype before we do our Kickstarter campaign for Revelations Battlefield, which is a alternate rules engine from Revelation Skirmish. Skirmish is more focused on being more like a simulation. Battlefield is more focused on being a game first. So there's points being scored off of objectives and other things that are not as much realistic. They're meant to be more gamified. So the Sierra here, I'm going to get this painted up for the Kickstarter as a promotion to show, how can, what kind of battle damage can we provide onto the models. And this guy, his STL version is actually going to be available for free for everyone, part of the campaign, to be able to check it out, see how we do our pre-support, see how the quality of our models, and also see the quality of the battle damage, which this is the very first time I've done this with the battle damage. So it'll get improved as we do more and more of them. It's usually how things go. So I've already got it all base coated. And I'm going to start painting parts of him right now. What I've done in the past with a Sierra, this here is from my Core Republic forces. It's part of my 264th. And I've got this Sierra. There we go. This is the Hero Sierra pose. And I did some weathering onto this before. So now what I'm going to try to do is get this painted up in the same kind of scheme. It's not the exact same pose, but the same scheme. And then we're going to accentuate the battle damage. And then we're also going to add some weathering effects as well as like here on this Sierra. So that this will be the most worn model part of my collection. And normally I assemble the model basically. Actually, when I painted this Sierra, I think I painted it all completely assembled. And then, put it all together, then painted it and everything. And that's usually fine for me. I can make that work. But I wanted to go a little bit extra, being able to kind of really show this one off and see if the extra work actually pays off at the end for me. If I feel like, yeah, this, the way I did the Hero Sierra, that works. Or, all right, let's do more and more of them this way. So typically I would airbrush all this yellow ochre, which is actually, it's an ochre brown from Vallejo. And then I would hand brush the red parts on. So since it was in pieces still, I could obviously airbrush just directly on with the red. So that's a nice change. Hey Remy, how are you? So now that I have everything base coated nicely to my liking, I'm going to start painting. So we're going to start out with dark stone, which is what I do for the joints. And now, because usually the model is put together, I can't paint, like into some of the arm sockets and stuff. But since he's not, I'm going to try it all the way. We're going to see how that goes. Hi, Roger. How are you? There we go. I'm excited to see how this turns out all the way, because it's been kind of on my list to start painting this way, but I didn't want to because, then you have to do all these parts rather than just doing the whole model. I like things being more efficient, but more than that, I like them looking better in the end, so... Oh, too much. Pour some of that out. This bottle always gets me. It always does too. Get that over. Doing good. Just finished building master grade heavy arms. Heck yeah. I've never done a master grade. Imagine those are fun. My local game store has a GPO2, and I'm a sucker for GPO2. I didn't get it, but I was looking. I was like, oh, that looks cool. Yes, I am. Battle Damage Sierras. Well, Sierra. This is just the one. All right. And hopefully I'll find where my spot is, because every time ouch, in between streams. All right, are you going to focus? Focus. Focus. Don't look at the Sierra, look at me. I know realistically I wouldn't have to paint the entire sphere because you can't see when it's inside, but raise this up. Oh, and a real grade. I need to get back to my Marine Gelgoog Marine. Have it all ready for me to start painting, but I think I've been nervous that I'm going to mess it up because I'm actually going to paint this one. Should just do it. Right there. How is the real grade? I mean, I'm sure when they're done, they look phenomenal. Still on phone. Like just the wrong. It's better. How much would I charge? I don't even know. Let me do one first, and then I can. Because I have been on the fence about how to approach it, because I've seen some people do an airbrush on theirs, and it looks so good. It looks real, and I don't know if I could do that to that level yet. Ooh, it was a Sazabi. Oh, that's a machine. That's a man's machine. I love the Sazabi. It's awesome. Don't mess up the red. I'm gonna have to redo all of that now. Looking forward to this kit. It's been something I should have had done a few weeks ago, and now we're painting is back on track. Well, progress is being made. Well, I bet he is big. Sazabi is big, but I bet it's really cool. I saw that they made an announcement basically that more or less there was no literal details, but that G Gundam or some other project with G Gundam might be coming back, which has me excited because I loved G Gundam as a kid. I loved it. All of its campy silliness and everything. I didn't care. It was great. I didn't really care for Chibity Crockett, the American representative. I just felt like he was kind of lame overall. A lot of crying for a guy who's supposed to be a cowboy, football, playboy kind of, kind of character. Oh, yeah, that would be a cool project. New Gundam. Sazabi, kicking ass. Leave that. Start trying. It's kind of crazy to realize how many parts I skip sometimes when painting only because I can't reach. So my desire to paint some of these nooks and crannies I can't normally get to is gonna get scratched. We'll see at the end if it paid off, if it matters. Or it's like, no one can really see it. You didn't really need to worry about it. Which has been kind of my approach is like, well, if I can barely see it in person, I bet somebody online really can't see it. Yeah, alright. Yeah, that'll be cool. I want to see that. I don't actually have a Sazabi in my collection yet. I need to do one eventually. I need to clear some of my backlog, though. I have too much. I bought the... it's been sitting in my closet for a couple of years because I wanted to learn how to properly paint a Gundam kit. But it was the Mercurius Inveate from Gundam Wing. I had bought that kit, and it's just waiting. I was like, oh, that's a cool thing. And I actually have all the rest of the Wing Gundams. Their initial versions. But I have Wing and Sandrock already assembled. So I don't know what I'm going to do if I end up painting the others, and I like that so much more. I may have to go back and rebuild those. Master Grade Sazabi would be cool too. It's easy. Do the cannon here. Make sure things stay in focus if I can help it. Oh, like specific faction primers, Remy? That's one of the stretch goals, right? Right? So it'll be kind of in the... I mean, I could always... I mean, that was kind of what I was thinking, that codex slash field manual thing was going to be kind of as... Anyway, it was basically as a primer for each one, but, well, it'd be for the specific. It's basically down to a need to secure funding for the next couple of months of work. I feel weird saying that, but that's basically where it is. So that's why I'm trying to pull myself out of this stupid funk I had been in for a few months. Don't know what was going on. Make results happen. Ended up being a big bummer out of, like, once we started putting the files out and everything, that I didn't see people really jumping in, and I'm not counting you, Remy, just in general, people not jumping in and playing or painting, or, you know, and it kind of took a little bit of the wind out, I guess. Set that aside because that needs to dry. No. Yeah, and it's weird, right? Because in my, you know, I had, basically what had happened was my main client, my main source of income, basically that ended right at the same time that I got all that money in from the Kickstarter. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I'll just do Revelations, anticipating that there would be more continued interest that was like after the Kickstarter. And it was my fault. I take the ownership on it. I did not do enough to continue the hype. I kind of was hoping there would be more that would continue organically, and it didn't. And then it got hard to know, like, what decision to move forward with and what project to do, and blah, 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 blah. And there probably was a light amount of woe is me whining going on inside that maybe I wasn't even articulating. But as I have discovered, that doesn't change a darn thing. So there's no point in doing it. I have to just move forward. I never did make a stop motion that was Revelations. It was just New Beginnings was the main series. Anything other than what absolutely needed to be done? Maybe the weather. Well, I know some people are really affected by the weather, and it's probably not something that they can super control. They just have to become more and more aware of it. The weather doesn't really bother me. I mean, I'm inside a lot, so like even if it's like dark and cloudy out, that doesn't really matter, right? Because inside my office here, there's no natural sunlight. I keep it all out because I have, these models that could be damaged by extended direct sunlight. So when I'm in here, granted, I get up and I go around the house and stuff, right? I don't just live in here, but I don't know. I have light around me, so it probably helps to trick my brain into just thinking, oh, okay, everything's fine. But it's just been weird. I've just not had the same level of enthusiasm I thought I was going to have when having the opportunity that I had. But there's all this extra pressure of like, well, anything that you go and you spend money on as a company now has to work, right? Because now it's not really being supplemented the same way it was. So instead of tackling that with the might of 1,000 suns or something, I didn't know what to move forward with. Thankfully, Battlefield was already in development, But even that has taken more time than I thought it would. That's probably been the biggest thing that as a business owner has been very frustrating, is that it seems, and this could just be a me thing, but in my experience it hasn't been, but it definitely could be. Everything seems to take more time in development, in thought, in planning. Maybe not so much in money, because I don't really do a lot of big expensive projects, but there's been so much more that has required more of me than what I estimated it would initially. Yeah, no worries, Roger. That's fine. Yeah, and with the playtesting too, like Battlefield was developing super fast, and then I didn't really have anybody to play it with, and it kind of just saps all the energy out because you don't have anybody else bouncing off of you being like, yeah, this is super cool, let's do this, let's do that, blah blah, and everything. You kind of have to just get to a place of it's not totally, but just in kind of the willingness to be like, I'm just gonna have to carry this completely myself if nobody else wants this. Nobody wants to do it with me, and that's not super easy. People ask how long I think it'll be before I think my game would be playable, and I answered about a year. Yeah, and then people will be like, "Why? Why does it take so long?" Well, do you want to be to a place that you want to play it? Unfortunately, the stuff doesn't write itself, despite the developments of AI. Not that I would even want to use AI for rules or anything anyway, but yeah, the painting does, and I've been trying to figure out ways to make it go faster, but be to the standard that I want it to be. And I mean, the photography, making the videos, making the posts, just engaging with your audience, keeping yourself from just scrolling. There's a lot that goes to it. I need to paint this because I did not do that previously, and just in case it's visible. So I don't know exactly how he's going to be posed when I assemble him, so let's do this. I'll have to do the whole thing, just where the yellow is, basically. Ochre brown. I got to a place, though, where recently I was like, if I really want to do this, if I keep saying, this is my dream job, this is what I want to do. If I had all the money in the world, what would I want to do? It would be doing this. So I need to act like it, and I need to start doing the things I know to do, and then have to just believe that God will show me the next things to do. So instead of getting all caught up in what I could or couldn't do, I'm trying to focus on what I know to do, which is paint models, use those as promotions, make new stats, make stuff. And one of the things that I basically been really encouraging myself is that if this Kickstarter does well enough that I'm able to continue this for a few more months, that writing has to become a daily thing. Every single day, whether that's in the first 2 hours of the day or whatever, but I have to write. Because the writing is the reason I started all of this, and now I got so caught up in the game development that I wasn't doing the writing. And I can't keep pushing that off. Gotta do it. It gives all the players the reason why to play. And I need to do it. Oh, yeah. If I could do a Revelation stop motion, that would be awesome. I mean, I probably could, with the knowledge I have of making stop motions, and then knowing people that can do 3D design, we could take the Sierra and we could break it up into actual posable parts, and I could basically build a model out of an action figure and make it work. That would be but it would be a lot of time that at the end it's like, what is that the best use of that time? So I painted everything dark stone that I think I need to, except should I paint the middle leg dark stone? Or should I just leave it red? Torn. I think I'm going to leave it. Yeah, I think I am. Well, I keep being torn. I've started doing it on like the hunter, the spade, but those have a different sort of middle leg segment than the Sierra does. So I'm not certain if it's just better to leave it on the Sierra than get too caught up in it. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I'm thinking, Remy. Is it's so easy, and I see other business owners and stuff when I watch some other types of content on the internet, and you know, they'll be like, yeah, you got to do this, and then like all this money, and I'm like, one, I'm doing a different type of industry than you. I'm not just teaching people how to make money, or I'm not just investing in things. Like, I'm building something that people entertain themselves with. So there's not a lot of content out there like that to teach you how to do it, because it's a different animal. But I think I should paint the ball. If I don't do anything else, I think I should paint the ball for the foot. Even though it's going to get dry brushed with the weathering, I think it will overall add a darker aspect under it. Well, yeah, and if we could do anything that even came within the shadow of Astartes, that animation was so good. I really wish we could have had that animation made a couple years ago, and it's a shame that that project couldn't get finished. But God willing, something else will open up and we'll be able to do an animation at some point. And then I get to be on the credits as a producer. Yeah. Except it'll be like producer, sound editor, writer, editor. I haven't seen that, Roger. What? McFarlane's a weird dude. Well, and that's funny, Remy, that was the thing that got you even to like really consider 40K, because it was fan made, and then they kind of shadow forced it to be a semi-official, which is unfortunate. It's fortunate for them as a company. It's unfortunate for the fans because of how it went down. Oh, okay. I stopped following McFarlane basically as soon as they stopped carrying Halo. I very rarely look at their stuff. I wasn't, despite the detail of the figures, I was never super impressed with like the articulation or just the overall durability of anything McFarlane made, because it just, I don't know, it felt frail. Yet you wanted to be like, also like, oh, look how super articulated it is. Well, like you kind of can't really be both. Like if you want to make just stuff that looks good as a statue, then just do that. Flood. Yeah, Remy. They really are. It is absolutely incredible how Games Workshop can actively gaslight and insult their fan base, and people just roll with it. And it's because it's like, well, it's not being directed at me. Okay, sure. It isn't right now, and maybe it won't ever be because bootlickers often don't feel like it's ever them. And the thing is, at the end of the day, is Games Workshop is a corporation. It's not a small mom and pop. It's not like me that, like, if you're like, look, I really want to support Rick and Rick's trying his best and doing blah blah, whatever reasoning you could come up with, because like you see me, you hear me, like, I'm I can be spoken to in the communities and stuff. It's not like it's just a faceless corporation. When like in Games Workshop, that's how it is. So why would you defend them so hard when at the end of the day they're just a company trying to make as much money as they can make? I mean, they're publicly traded. They're not even private. So they're full on games corporation, not you know, they're not really a studio in the, at least in the smaller studio sense. And that's not a bad thing that they're publicly traded, just that they don't care about you. So don't act like they do. It's like defending Disney. They don't need you to defend them. They have all this money. I haven't really seen very much from Wicked Cool, but I mean, Halo itself is being entirely mismanaged and just abused. And like at this point, I make fun of modern Halo. I liked Infinite as a game. I did way more than 4 and 5. I liked the direction that Infinite was going. But then Microsoft in 343, mainly 343, just showed that they don't care. Why would you hire a bunch of freelancers to design your game, the base code of your, like, what are you doing? Are you not going to want to add things to your own product? These companies are so money focused, they don't even think about the longevity. I keep seeing this dumb quote go around on Facebook because some reason Facebook thinks I agree with it. That, Kathleen Kennedy saying, we learned a lot from Solo, that we shouldn't recast popular roles. There was almost nobody who was upset. I don't remember the guy's name. The guy who played Han Solo in the Solo movie. Nobody was upset that he wasn't Harrison Ford. The movie was even just okay. It wasn't even that bad. It was just that it followed episode 8, which was a hot turd, and people were upset. It's like, that's the reason the movie didn't do good. You insulted your fan base. Pikachu shocked face. Can't believe they didn't like it. I hope, Remy, that the Halo game helps. I can't really see that miniature game lasting more than 2 or 3 years. Mostly because Halo has a terrible track record. And as much as I love miniature games and as much as I love Halo, I don't think that they go together. Because there's not enough content, there's not enough products that they can create to keep the game moving. It would work better in the sense of, here's a generic game engine. We provided Halo armies, and we're going to start mixing in other armies that can fight together in this kind of multiverse kind of game setting. I think it could do better there because then they have stuff they can move forward with. But once you get done with the basic grunts, elites, and jackals and brutes, yeah, you can make the Banished, you can make the Flood, you can make the UNSC, and then what? I guess you could do Forerunners, but they don't have very many different characters or units available, so it would seem to me to be more of like, we made a bunch of money off of our fan base, and now we're out of ideas. And that part stinks, but okay. Moving on past the Darkstone, where is... it's hiding behind my water cup. Gunmetal. Which part of the customization is locked behind the paywall? Oh, you mean like an Infinite? Yeah, where like red wasn't even available at launch. You're like, what do you mean you don't have red? It's literally red versus blue. It's been that way forever. What do you mean I can't use red? But you can if you pay for it. No. That was very frustrating because I thought Infinite was going to be so good and I wanted to support the game, so I paid for Infinite when it launched. And now I will never again pay for a Halo game at launch. I'm going to wait to see reviews. I'm going to wait to see how it goes. I'm not going to be tricked again. I'm not doing it. And who am I? As far as they're concerned, I'm a nobody. So it's not like they're like, oh, we're losing Rick's money. But there's a lot of people like me that are upset. The problem is so many companies went to school for business. Well, and then it's not even it. Yeah, obviously that's actually a funny thing with Star Wars is that they don't make those sorts of plans. At least not with the sequel trilogy, but they don't only not make plans. They insult their fan base for being upset. Like, don't you guys have a plan? And then continue to update, revive said plans as they go forward, which is the right thing. You should be updating and alternating, right, and changing your plan up as you go. That part makes sense. What doesn't make sense is like the constant, almost knee-jerk reactions, but then they're also, they get out ahead of the game because they're like, oh, people aren't going to like Reva from Obi-Wan, so we have to say, just because she's a black actress, you can't be mad at her. Like, we weren't mad at her for that. We weren't mad at her at all for that. I don't care about her skin. Like, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't make me dislike or like her character more. What made me dislike her was that her character was not good. That's it. The character sucked. I didn't care about her. I wanted to watch a show about Obi-Wan, not about Reva. Double for the required currency for armor. And then that's so dumb. Frustratingly stupid. They make a thing, they continue to see what we can do now, not make the plan and alter base. Yeah, they don't. They're well past, and that was part of one of the things that I discussed in that video I made last week, was that I myself, I don't have an issue with diversity being added into a universe. As long as you're not pandering, I don't have a problem with it. Like, if you wanted an Asian character to be added in, fine. And you develop them so that they just make sense as a character and not because, like, oh yeah, their primary thing is that they're Asian. I'm all for, like, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I like it. There's plenty of upside to having a cast that isn't all one group, unless it's a historical setting, which then it should be, because I'm watching a movie. I started to watch Shogun, right? And Shogun, if you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu. It's set in Japan. Obviously, a majority of the cast is going to be Japanese. It wouldn't make sense if half of them are black, because it just wouldn't be. So I'm not upset that there's not. I'm surprised, because I never read. I guess it's based on a book. I never read the book. I'm actually surprised how many white characters, or I guess Europeans, are in it. But it's also just the first episode. But I watch samurai movies at times, and I expect the entire cast to be Japanese. I'm not, but I expect that they are, because it's the setting. That's actually really messed up, Roger. You have to go and flog yourself. I haven't played Destiny 2 in like a year, just about. I would be shocked if they're not making another Halo, but the last one took so flippin' long to finally release that, like, I won't even remotely get my hopes up. And the fact that they have that idiotic Paramount show, which isn't even Halo. It's generic sci-fi. But I'm not surprised at all if they make another. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first episode of Shogun. Like, when it was over, I was like, man, I feel like I watched a movie. Like, there was so much that happened. And that, to me, was like how on Netflix, I think it used to be BBC, but it was on Netflix, The Last Kingdom. That's how that felt. The first time I'd ever watched The Last Kingdom, I felt like almost every single episode added so much stuff. And there's plenty of shows you watch, and like by the end of it, you're like, nothing really happened. There was like just a little bit. It was a lot of filler. But I feel like Shogun did a good job of making me feel like my time was well spent in watching, that it wasn't a waste. I thought they had already killed Keys in the Halo show. I thought they just did it, which is so dumb. So they're rewriting historical events too. Big ones. Dutch and the Portuguese were heavily involved in trade to Japan and around. Yeah, and that Remy was something I wasn't aware of. So that was also partly why I was so surprised. But I can't, like, that's a me problem because I didn't know that. But I'm learning that. Okay, that's done. I don't need to do that. I do need to do this. Let me know your thoughts after you finish Shogun. Yeah, no, I'd love to talk about it after. It's funny because a lot of the shows I've been watching lately, nobody but my wife, because she's usually the one watching with me, has watched the show. So like when I finished watching Foundation, no one had seen Foundation. I finished watching The Last Kingdom. I don't know anybody who watched that. There's been a lot of the shows that I've been kind of like, there's nobody. The new season added the flood, but in a way that made me feel confused. It felt more like it's just a science fiction zombie horror. It's so dumb. They shouldn't even have the flood yet. They're not even at the ring. If the flood was anywhere else but contained within one of the rings, they would be basically everywhere as long as they had a ship. It just doesn't... It doesn't make sense. Someone had shown a comparison of like the Halo show and was saying that like this probably was supposed to be a Mass Effect script, and they compared it to events that happened in Mass Effect, and I was like, you know what? I can see that totally happening. This was meant to be Mass Effect all along. What this song is. This was not the right tone for the stream. I'm gonna have to look in a second. Not all songs can be winners. I don't know if Roger's typing a response with the lag of everything, but I haven't actually watched season 2 of Halo. I was insulted throughout the first one and didn't feel that they wanted me to watch season 2. And then when I started seeing it's worse than the Doom movie that came out. You know what's messed up, though, is because I never played Doom, really. I didn't mind the movie. But I bet you that there were longtime fans that were like, this isn't Doom. What is this? But when good old Master Cheeks was out there saying that you can't wear a helmet for the whole show because then you can't see emotion. It's like, my guy, did you watch Mandalorian? You can take the helmet off every now and then, but not every freaking scene. It's funny that I can't think of a video game movie that did well. That was like made by fans, like people who really cared about the project until like Mario and Sonic. And how many other video game movies did they make over the years? And like none of them have been that great. And yeah, I mean, Sonic wasn't 100% like, you know, being very earth-based, but I think those movies have done well for what audience they were trying to reach while still being very respectful of their properties. They wouldn't have been if Sonic was the original version they had designed. That was not good. That person needs to be fired. Yeah, that is absolutely what they did do. Roger's right there, Remy. They 100% slapped Halo fans in the face. And then they told you to get over it when you were upset. And the worst thing is, in my opinion, because people are allowed to like what they like. They are. At the end of the day, they absolutely are. But the people that are out there simping real hard for this series and are like, well, you're not a real Halo fan if you don't like this. I'm not the real Halo fan. I'm the one person who I didn't want them to remake Combat Evolved. If they made any other story set in Halo, I would have been fine. Especially doing like Harvest. That would have been great. They could have followed an ODST. They could have followed a different Spartan. They could have followed a Spartan 3. What? I don't care. Don't care. Just make it make sense. No, we're going to make our own timeline. We're going to change major events. And when we're going to title it Halo. So whenever somebody searches for Halo, they're going to find our show. I hadn't finished Arcane. I had started it a couple years ago, but I hadn't finished it yet. I wanted to go back because I had heard that it was well done. I the animation quality was really good. I just wasn't super into the show. And I don't play League of Legends, so like none of the characters mattered to me, and I know they're not all in the game, but like it didn't, when people would like die or something, it didn't really matter because I wasn't sure yet who are they actually setting up by removing this character. Who is the reason that I should care? Because every death should have some freaking meaning. Other than just like, ooh, look at this, we killed a character. Yeah, and that is in part, Roger, like why I'm not as big in Halo anymore. I if anyone brings up Halo 2, Halo 3, Combat Evolved, Reach, ODST, like all those, yeah, I'm on board with it. But I don't like. I don't. At the end of the day, what bothers me a lot about a lot of this is that I don't like feeling as though I'm just complaining about things. Like that's not my intention. I want to just super enjoy it. I want to be completely on board with these other franchises. Like I'm not at all being like, well, I'm making Revelations now, so everything else is stupid. Not at all. Like I still am a fan of these things myself. And it insults me that, and it upsets me that I feel like I'm always being negative, and that's not at all my desires. I don't even want them necessarily to focus on just doing what I want. Just don't make me feel stupid for saying it. This just isn't for me. I don't like the direction you guys are going with this. It seems to be a lot of what's going on now with companies and developers and studios is like well, if you're not for this, then you must be an ist or a phobe or a this or a that. And it's like, or hear me out. You just creatively aren't skilled. And it in fact has nothing to do with me. No, it can't be that. You are the problem. Well, and yeah, I'm the same way, Remy. Like I'm still love Halo and Star Wars and Transformers and things Gundam that I enjoyed in my youth. I'll always enjoy that memory, but I just won't be behind some of their other silliness that they're trying to pull now. And I forgave most of the Michael Bay movies, so like I've been pretty generous. It would appear that you and aren't alone in your distaste for the people, directions of Well, and that's been the thing, and that was the thing that I had. My intention in a way was when I made those posts that people have been upset with me over, and it's funny because I've actually had some new people join because of my video response, but that I was like, I see people being pushed out of these other groups, and I want them to know that they have a place. Like if they're going to be respectful and they're going to play nice, then I'm not here to kick them out because of how they may or may not vote politically, but it seems that a lot of groups right now are completely content on purging their fan base of people that they disagree with about real world things. I am absolutely not going to agree with everybody in my community. So why would I be upset that they're here just because they're here? That doesn't make any sense. I can completely disagree with someone and still be grateful that they're supporting my business and be respectful of whatever, for the most part, if they're not out there being like, hey, we should just decimate random villages for fun. In most instances, people aren't like that. Okay. So I guess now that these parts are painted, I wonder if I should put it together. Because then we can start doing the wash and then cleanup work and then start doing the battle damage. So, yeah, I might just go ahead and do that. Well, and it is definitely in part to the bad writing, for sure. But the companies are okaying this stuff. They're the ones that are allowing this to happen and are supporting it happening. I mean, yeah, you could argue the fans are too because they're paying them for what they've created. Yeah. But there seems to be a number of things that are almost agenda driven. And I don't mean that necessarily politically 100%, but just in the sense of we don't care. Because if they were focused on making money, they would be a lot more sensitive to people leaving. But instead, they're more caught up in making social, points rather than points with the fans. And then people leave and they're completely cool with it. A movie like Disney that makes like the Marvels bombs, does terrible. Just this is a terrible, terrible movie in terms of sales and tickets. And then they'll admit, yeah, we should have done more, but they don't come out. They don't do anything to be like, okay, loud and clear, no more of this. Instead, we're going to go make this movie over here about this character that everyone's been asking for. They just kind of like, yeah, we should have done that. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry for being reasonable. Stop that. If you don't vote for my current thing, I'm done. Yeah, and it's and some of these people, like with Lord of the Rings, they did that. They had that guy in one of the promotions talking about how he was attracted to the idea of Sauron being made good or being like a bad boy. Like, what are you talking about? He's like the embodiment of evil. What are you talking about? No, you crazy person. And like, that's what Amazon wanted everyone else in the world to know. That's what they put out there. That's what they wanted you to watch and be like, yes, this is the type of people we want as our main audience. Need the pelvis. I'm gonna make this a assembly video on top of it. Put a little too much glue, but that's okay. It'll just make a better bond. All right. We want the front foot down all the way. Back one up and twisted some. Nope, don't you dare dry on level. Yeah. Yeah, sweet. Okay, so need to paint this red first. So I need because when I did the you'll notice that they're dark on the bottom because they got the primer, but they didn't get their main color on them. So I need to paint both of those. It'll always baffle me how a company who's there to make money will hire someone who's never done a job even remotely close to that, and will at the same time they either that person admits, oh, I've never seen X property before, or they're told by the studio, don't watch it. Don't read it. We want make your thing. Why? Why would you do that? Why? Yeah, Roger. Yeah, exactly. They don't know what they're doing, and they want to gaslight us when we're upset. I don't understand as a company. Like Amazon or Disney, because they'll buy other IPs and all these other companies that buy IPs to invest in. Why would you Why would you buy the rights to a property? Maybe that's just for the movie rights or what have you, what project. You pay all this money to acquire this IP that already has shown that it's making money and that people like it and that they think, hey, if we invest in this, we're going to make more money because we think it's already on an upward trajectory. And then they acquire said IP and then don't do anything with it. They make it so generic and bland and different than what it was that made it successful. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's like buying a house in the middle of it being built and being like, you know what? It'd be a lot better if this was just filled with water like a pool. It's not even a finished house yet. Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and that is true. Because now you have people making stuff that they don't actually care about. And then those projects are not doing well. I feel bad for the girl who plays Miss Marvel because she seems like someone who actually really is actually a legitimate fan of that character. The character does nothing for me, but she's not made for me. I get that. But I feel bad that she has not been able to have like a truly fair shake in a way because they're, I mean, her finally getting to be in a movie that wasn't the movie to put her in, which is not her fault. I had seen this deleted scene for the movie. If you haven't seen it yet, it's worth laughing at, where Valkyrie makes a accidental comment about a particular adult device that you would insinuate she had used along with Captain Marvel, which in their personal life, plenty of people would say, well, that's just whatever, that's just between them. But no, she made the comment by accident when she was talking to Miss Marvel, who is still a child, still a minor. Somebody put that in the movie. Granted, they did take it out, but they put that in the movie and said, we did good. We did good. We made this scene. Like, are you guys... Do you recognize what's going on? You have a child you're talking to about adult stuff when people are like, see, they're doing it with everything. Nuh-uh. No, we're not. No, we're not. You just feed into the conspiracy, which, not so secret, but conspiracy in the sense that they're after putting certain things constantly in front of us when as adults we know what's there. We're in the world, we understand. But they're not worried about developing characters like we've been saying. They're just worried about getting their point across. My music has stopped, and I'm sad. I'm going to have to reach over to my computer, which is so far. This is a first world problem. I have to reach over so far. Turn it back on. I started telling people not to read the show. Yeah, and that is when they started losing things, especially when that comes out. It's one thing for that to be an internal thing, like, look, I don't want you to be influenced by this. We're going to keep this quiet. And then, like, it's happened again and again that a director or an actor or something comes out and like, yeah, I was told not to read it. Huh? But I guess in the same way, they don't want anyone going like Henry Cavill and being like, we're not doing things the way that The Witcher has done them. Hey, whoa, how are you? There's nothing wrong with jorts. It's nothing wrong with them. I used to wear them. I don't have any now. It's mostly because I just hadn't found a pair. I used to think they were super comfortable, but I know that now that puts me into dad territory, but now I am, so it's totally fine. Never understood why people made fun of them. I thought they were always so good. Oh, I forgot I have to turn the music on. Barking things. Fun stuff. All right. All right. I need to turn this way. Uh, see. I had something else pulled up. Allegedly, this was also supposed to be not copyright. Oh, see, that works, Remy. I use for like when I'm doing like yard work. I have this old like gym shorts that have like paint and stuff on them from when I was painting my parents' house and stuff years ago. So there's like they're not tattered or anything, but they're definitely not attractive. But it's like I don't want to ruin good clothes to do yard work, so I don't care. This will do one more. Yeah, we'll do one more little touch up here, and then we'll be done with this color. We can move on to the red for those other parts that need it, and then we can start going back to assembly. Oh, is it Whoa? That's cool. Good. I think it is here too, but I haven't really been looking outside. All right. Red time. We're using Gory Red Vallejo. Just a, just a touch. Just a touch. There it is. That was a touch. It accidentally squirted out. We're living with it. And if make it too thin, this Gory Red gets a little thin. All right. Need to do this part, and I think it's the only one that really needs it. Just trying to blend this together a little bit so it doesn't stand out so obvious that it wasn't painted. When I was doing my airbrush. And the upside is that a lot of this mech is going to get, is going to have places that are obviously battle damage, but then also the weathering effects on it and stuff. So it doesn't have to look fresh, so to speak. It can look a little messy and be okay. Let's see, is this one good? Yeah, this is good. Just touch up a little bit right there. Oh, you know what? I do know where I need to put red. Is right here around the barrels because I accidentally got a little bit of silver on it. Yeah, just blend that together a little bit better. Cool. And this one's all good. Yeah, I think so. They missed some silver. Hooray! Dang it. Want to get iron-blooded orphans kids or any other kids? Okay, it's good to know. I'm just gonna because I know this is still wet here, so I'm just gonna use the thumb. It's missing a little bit, and then Okay. Let's get back to assembling. So let's see. I wanted to assemble this kind of like how I did the render. Where's my phone? Let me see if I can find the render. What I was thinking of doing, I don't know if it would work, was to have do like some sort of digital transition where it would show the render and then it would show the painted model. I thought that might be a cool thing. I need to find where the heck it is. Ah, there it is. No, just found it. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. So we have the center torso is just off center. So the legs are kind of walking to the left. So the torso would be kind of here. Yeah, like that. Mm-hmm. It's weird that the joints for that particular kit would get, or those kits themselves would get any different, because you would think they're all made out of the same plastic. But maybe they're more heavy or something. So if we have the legs like that, I can't see the string. I'll move this up so that you guys can kind of sort of see. Oh, that was a glare. You can kind of see. All right, I think that might be dry enough. Okay, so got the leg, and then I want the torso. Yeah, like that. Pretty close. And then we'll start doing the left arm after. Oh, there it is. There's the hand, and then I need the red arm. Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know some of the iron-blooded ones, they have rather big parts, despite their rather thin frame. Okay, so the arm is pretty standard. Wasn't anything super crazy going on in this render. No? All right, Roger. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. We can still Yeah. Still fix this. This one's too close when it's assembled. You know what? Let's glue the arm in first. The lower arm. Just in case, we'll do the hand now too. Yeah, thank you, Roger. Yeah, I look forward to it. Sazabi. There we go. Let's do the missile launcher now. Oh, don't you fall. Do not fall and break. Do not do that. I'll be very sad. Well, yeah. Sticking to my finger. No. There we go. Huzzah. Alright, and we just need a sample base to just glue them onto for the moment. Right. Move this. All right. What colors those were on the Sierra? So the base color is Vallejo Ochre Brown. I do a gray. It's a neutral gray. It's kind of a darker gray, though, as the primer. And then I do this on top of that. And then you do this on everything, the whole model. Then I use Vallejo Gory Red. If you do the red on top of the gray, the red is too dark. If you want like this more vibrant red, you have to do this first, then do this. Yeah, it's usually fun. What's not fun is once I paint a bunch of stuff and then I'm like, you know what? I don't like that color scheme. Which is what happened to all of my Republic stuff. This is the color I had been basically trying to find for years, and I could not find that color. And it wasn't ochre brown. It was just like I had this idea of a color, and I couldn't find anything that was the color I was after. And then I found this and I'm like, that's it. That's it. And I wanted also to find a different red because I kept doing like maroon. And it didn't really work. I love this red so much better. I think these go together super, super well. But I'm incredibly biased. And I know that. And I'm okay with that. But sometimes coming up with the schemes is fun because you get to like try out new color combinations, and other times people, I kind of look at other color schemes that are out there and then I'll tweak the shade of them because, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, well, you copied this, this unit in this other IP. It's like, look, that color scheme was really good. And I don't even know if they came up with it first. And even if they did, it's colors. I'm not copying maybe the pattern that they do. I try not to do that. Or you maybe I took one color from this unit and a different color from these and I put them together. I don't know. I'm cool with it. Yes, those two are the official colors. So if we ever make a paint range, it'll be to get close to what these two colors are. All right, so now that he is assembled, I need to do, I guess I could do the gory red real quick on the missile tip since I have it. Working on how to color them. Oh, yeah, and that's always an enjoyable but also kind of complicated task because then it's like, okay, I've got two factions. I have to give them colors that are not matching, but at the same time they both need to be very solid color schemes. And like in my case, sometimes like I really like blue. It's like, okay, well, what about blue? Blue. They can't make everybody blue. Green, reds, and black. Okay, that works. What's the good guy? Good guy. Less of a bad guy faction. Red, white, and blue, or blue and something else. Yeah, I guess it also depends on what their connection is, maybe to any other real world country, if they do, or if it's just an analogy of them, or they have no connection whatsoever. Yeah, you can really see that. Why is the camera? You know what? Is the that's why. Now it'll zoom better. I had the focus point way in the wrong spot. Man, I'm sorry about that. Iconic religious zealot faction. Fun. Okay. So now what should I do? I'll look up a picture really quick to see if I can find. I want to see if I can find some images for battle damage, like a battle damage tank. Battle damaged tank. Just to see. I have an idea of what it looks like when they're battle damaged, but I don't. Okay, well, there's. Yeah, so like real world, they're like the same color. You wouldn't really know it's battle damage unless you knew what to look at. There's this. kind of tank that has super dark and then brown around it, which I could do. The real world colors are probably just, yeah, they're not very helpful. I don't want to do metal. I'm going to do metal just for scratching the paint. I want to do something that feels more appropriate. Do how to paint battle damage. Just see if there's a image, and then I'll know. They're just doing scratching, which is just weathering. You know how to do you do the light color underneath and you do the brown on top. You just hit it with a wash and then just, might do that. Hit it with a wash, which pulls your eye to it, and then we'll just lightly, carefully dry brush around it to add an effect of like, oh, there was smoke or something that hit. So to me, the greens and reds make sense for them. The other faction is evading me at the moment. Yeah, it'll end up coming to you. I mean, and that's part of the design process, is taking that time on some of it, as frustrating as that is, because you want it to be moving forward. At least I do, typically. But the color schemes are super important in that they tell the people, who are these guys? But at the same time, that's not a law, right? You can change that up. So let's try trying this arm first. This may end up taking a lot of time, or it may end up going super fast. I'm not sure. It does make them already stand out a little bit better. My wall shat. That's too much, but oh well. This is not the brush for this. I use this guy. This is not the way that I normally would want to paint washes. I would just do like the entire model. But I'm trying to see if maybe this ends up being faster while still giving me the final look that I'm after. I'm not convinced that it will just yet, but I'm willing to give it a chance. Really big about wanting to figure out ways to save time when painting. I don't know if this is for me or against me just yet. But I mean, I think that's working so far. I have to basically alternate between brushes. Whoa. Whoops. Totally just missed this battle damage. Jeez. Whoops. All right, sounds good. I'll be here tackling away. Oh. I'm going to leave that. I think that's good enough there. That's covered. Okay. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Ow, and then I dropped on the floor. Yeah, I think so. Thank you. I've only done, I mean, it's the left or the right arm, and I'm working on the left. But I mean, you can tell the right arm is really popping while the torso is kind of just lost. So hopefully that's working. But like to my eyes, it does seem like it is. But we'll have to wait and see once it gets to that photography phase. But so far, so good. I think it will, though. At least that's my hope at the moment, is it'll, by taking the time with the wash, if I don't have to do all the extra rework of painting the panels back over, then that is a lot of time saved. But I've only done like a little bit of work like this. I did it on the Jupiter and the Jupiter HA. So I don't yet feel like, yeah, this is my method. This is how I do this from now on. I'm still in the, well, let's see what the results look like. Maybe, maybe not. But being able to save time, at least, but in the short term, it doesn't feel like I'm saving anything. It feels like I'm doing a lot of extra work. But I know that that's not necessarily true. It's just when you're wanting results, you know, like I'm used to just like, well, you just put the wash on. What are you doing? What's taking so long? Just put the wash on. Well, I can do that. The downsides of being a millennial is you want the results today. I imagine that's the case with many generations, but can only specifically speak to mine. That subtle wash effect is something. Somewhere there's a much more experienced painter being like, duh. I feel like it might blend it a little bit better. A little bit more on this camera here. Alrighty. Well, it's a pretty good amount of work. Still got a lot to go. The torso, I think, will really start pulling it all together. Save the rest of that homemade wash. All right. Well, I am going to go ahead and get going because I have a event to get to for family. So thank you guys for being here for the stream. I'll be sharing pictures and stuff as I go forward, and hopefully this Sierra will get done pretty soon. But in the meantime, have a good night. Talk to you guys later.